Ethan lived a quiet life in a small town on Earth, far away from anything exciting. He worked at a hardware store, helped his elderly neighbor mow the lawn, and sometimes spent long evenings sitting alone on his porch, staring at the stars. He was an ordinary young man, with brown hair and a calm face, and most people thought he liked the slow pace of his simple life. But deep inside, Ethan felt a weight he could never talk about. There were things in his past that he kept hidden. Sometimes, when he was alone at night, Ethan would remember strange places and faces. He would wake from dreams about worlds that did not look like Earth, about people who looked almost human but were not, and about a girl with pale blue skin and bright silver eyes. He never spoke of these dreams to anyone, not even his closest friend, Jake. The memories were real, even if they sounded impossible. One summer evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Ethan sat on his porch as usual. He watched the sky turn orange and purple, then slowly darken to deep blue. Above him, the first stars came out, blinking quietly. Ethan held a cup of coffee and sighed. For a moment, he felt like someone was watching him. He brushed off the feeling, thinking it was only his tired mind playing tricks. In a different part of the galaxy, far from Earth, another story was starting. Lyria, the princess of a proud alien race, stood before a large window in her private room. Her world was beautiful, filled with blue forests and silver towers, but she felt restless. Her thoughts always returned to the human she had met, a young man named Ethan, who had come to her planet on a secret mission. Their time together was short, but it had changed her life. Lyria remembered every moment with Ethan. She remembered the way he smiled when he was nervous, the way he tried to fix her broken translator with gentle hands, and the way he promised to keep her safe during the hardest days of the mission. But one day, without warning, Ethan was gone. He left in the night, leaving only a message: "You will be safer this way." Since that day, Lyria had felt empty. She could not understand why he had left her behind. Every night she watched the stars, wondering where he had gone. Her advisors told her to forget the human, to focus on her royal duties, but Lyria could not. She felt like something important was missing, like her own heart had been stolen away. For weeks, she studied the records of Ethan's mission, searching for any clue about where he might have gone. Finally, she found a signal from a blue and green planet called Earth. It matched the stories Ethan had told her. Lyria knew what she had to do. She would go to Earth and find him, no matter what it cost her. Her decision shocked everyone at the palace. The queen, her mother, tried to stop her. Her advisors warned of danger. "It is too risky," they said. "Earth is a strange world. People do not know us. If you go, you may never return." Lyria listened to their worries, but her mind was made up. She felt stronger than she ever had before. "I have to see him," she told her mother. "I need to know why he left." The royal engineers prepared a small ship for her. It was fast, silent, and had new technology to hide from Earth's satellites. As the day to leave grew closer, Lyria grew more nervous. She packed a small bag with everything she might need, including her old translator, a photo of Ethan, and a necklace he had given her, a simple chain with a glass star. She wore it around her neck for courage. When the ship was ready, Lyria stood before her mother for one last goodbye. The queen hugged her tightly, her eyes full of worry. "Promise me you will be careful," she said. "If you find this human, remember who you are. You are not alone." Lyria nodded and smiled softly. "I will be careful, and I will come back." With a heavy heart, Lyria left her home and climbed aboard the ship. The door closed behind her, and the engines hummed to life. She looked out the window one last time at her blue planet, then pressed a button. The ship lifted off, moving silently through the clouds and into the cold black of space. As the stars rushed past, Lyria stared at the photo of Ethan. She remembered his promise and wondered if he would remember her at all. She wondered if he would be angry or happy, or if he had moved on with his life. She wondered if she was making a mistake. Days passed as the ship moved closer to Earth. Lyria slept little, worrying about what she might find. Sometimes she would stare at her reflection in the ship's mirror and practice using the translator. She practiced human greetings, simple questions, and how to ask for help. "Hello, my name is Lyria," she repeated softly. "I am looking for someone. His name is Ethan." Back on Earth, Ethan's days went on as usual. He worked, helped his neighbors, and tried to keep busy. But every night he watched the sky. Sometimes he would see a falling star and wonder if someone out there was thinking about him. Sometimes he felt sure that he would never see Lyria again, that she had forgotten about him just as he was trying to forget about her. One night, Ethan turned on the old radio in his workshop. He liked to listen to static and faraway voices, pretending he could pick up messages from space. As he turned the dial, he heard a strange sound, a repeating pulse, too regular to be random. Ethan froze. He listened carefully. The sound came. Again, almost like a pattern he remembered from his time off-world. He felt his heart race. "No," he said to himself. "It can't be." Ethan wrote down the pattern on a scrap of paper, then tried to ignore it. But over the next days, the sound returned, growing stronger. He heard rumors in town about strange lights in the sky, about odd signals picked up by ham radio users. Ethan felt uneasy, like his two lives, one on Earth, one among the stars, were starting to come together again. Far above, Lyria's ship entered Earth's solar system. She used her technology to hide from the planet's satellites and defense systems. As she approached, she stared at the swirling blue and white ball below. "This is it," she whispered. "I have come this far. I cannot turn back now." Lyria chose a landing site far from cities where no one would see her ship. The landing was rough, but the ship held together. She gathered her things and took a deep breath. She pressed the button to open the door. Fresh air rushed in, strange, warm and full of new smells. For the first time in her life, Lyria stood on another planet. Surrounded by tall trees and singing insects, she checked her translator and looked at her map. "Find Ethan," she told herself. "Ask him why he left." In the distance, a new journey was about to begin, one that would change both her life and Ethan's forever. Lyria took her first step onto Earth, determined to find the human who had left her, and to discover the truth that lay between them. Lyria moved slowly through the thick trees after landing her ship. She felt nervous, but she reminded herself why she had come all this way. Her boots pressed into the earth, feeling the soft ground under her feet. The smells of Earth were new. To her, she stopped sometimes just to breathe in the strange air and listen to the birds singing high in the trees. On her world, she had never heard sounds like these. She hoped these peaceful sounds meant that Earth was a gentle place. Lyria looked at her small device, which showed a map of the area and the position of her hidden ship. She pressed a button and her image shimmered for a second. Her skin looked more human now, and her hair was dark instead of pale. She had studied human clothes before her journey and wore simple jeans and a light blue shirt. She picked up her bag and started walking toward the nearest small town. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept telling herself to be brave. As she walked, she practiced using her translator. "Hello, I am looking for a person," she whispered. "Have you seen Ethan?" Her voice sounded strange to her own ears, but she hoped it would be good enough. After a long walk, she finally saw signs of people. There were a few houses and a main road where cars moved past. Lyria stood at the edge of the road, watching carefully. Every sound was new, and every sight surprised her. She was amazed by the colors of the flowers growing along the path, and the smell of food from the small restaurant nearby. She waited for a quiet moment and then walked into the town. People looked at her, but only for a second. She tried to remember how humans acted, so she smiled and walked with purpose. She looked at signs and tried to read them with the help of her translator. Some words were easy, but some made no sense. To her, she found a small market and decided to go inside. Maybe she could learn more about this place and how to find Ethan. The market was busy with people shopping for fruits, bread, and other things. Lyria wandered through the aisles, her eyes wide with wonder. She almost knocked over a basket of apples, but caught it just in time. A woman smiled at her, and Lyria smiled back. She felt a little braver now. At the back of the market, she found a board with many pieces of paper pinned to it. Some were missing pets, some were jobs, and one was about a local festival. She saw a paper with Ethan's name, written in small letters. Her heart jumped. She reached out and touched the paper, but before she could read it, someone tapped her shoulder. It was a girl with curly brown hair and friendly eyes. "Hi," the girl said. "Are you new in town? You look lost." Lyria felt her face grow warm. "Hello," she said, trying to sound confident. "I am looking for a friend. His name is Ethan." "Do you know him?" The girl thought for a moment. "Maybe. What's your name?" "My name is Lyria," she answered. "I just arrived." "I'm Mia," the girl said. "If you're looking for Ethan, you might try the hardware store. He works there sometimes." Lyria's eyes grew wide. She was so close. "Thank you," she said, almost whispering. Mia smiled. "Do you want me to walk with you?" "It can be hard to find things if you're not from here," Lyria nodded. "Yes, please." They left the market and walked down the main street together. Lyria asked Mia simple questions about the town. Mia answered kindly, telling her about the school, the library, and the river where people liked to swim. Mia thought Lyria was from another country and did not seem to notice anything strange about her. Lyria listened closely, trying to remember every detail in case she needed to leave quickly. They reached the hardware store, a small place with a big window and rows of tools inside. Mia opened the door and called for Ethan, but an older man said Ethan was not working today. Lyria felt her heart sink, but she thanked the man politely. Mia noticed how sad she looked. "It's okay," Mia said. "We can try again tomorrow. Or maybe we can leave him a note." Lyria thought about that. "Yes, thank you. You are very kind." They sat outside on a bench and talked for a while. Lyria asked about local places to stay, and Mia offered to show her the small motel at the edge of town. Lyria agreed, grateful for the help. At the motel, the owner was a gentle old woman who gave Lyria a room. Lyria paid with the local money she had brought, which she had exchanged before leaving her ship. Inside the small room, Lyria sat on the bed and stared out the window. She was so close to finding Ethan, but she did not know if he would want to see her. She held the necklace Ethan had given her and wondered if she was brave enough to face him after all this time. That night, Lyria could not sleep. She thought about her home and her family, and about the risks she had taken to come to Earth. She was scared, but she remembered her promise to herself. She would find Ethan and ask him the truth. She watched the moon rise and fall in the sky, her mind full of questions and hope. The next morning, Mia came to see her at the motel. She brought a small breakfast and a big smile. "Ready to try again?" Mia asked. Lyria nodded. "Thank you, Mia. I am ready." They walked back to the hardware store, but again Ethan was not there. Mia asked the older man if he knew where Ethan was. The man said, "He's probably at home, just outside town." Mia turned to Lyria. "Do you want to go there?" Lyria hesitated. She wanted to see Ethan, but she was afraid. "Maybe later." "I want to see more of your town first." Mia agreed, and they spent the morning walking around. Lyria tried different foods at a bakery, watched children play in the park, and listened to the sound of a local band practicing. She was surprised by how kind people were, even to strangers. She saw families laughing and friends greeting each other. It was all new to her, and she felt both happy and lonely at the same time. While they walked, Mia asked Lyria about her life. "Where are you from?" Mia asked. Lyria thought for a moment. "Far away," she said honestly. "It is different from here." Mia smiled. "Well, I hope you like it here." As the sun began to set, Mia offered to take Lyria to Ethan's house. "Maybe it's time," Mia said gently. Lyria nodded. "Yes, I think it is." They walked out of town together, following a quiet road past fields and trees. At last, they reached a small house with a big porch. Lights glowed in the windows. Mia stopped at the gate. "I'll wait here, if you want," Mia said. Lyria stood at the gate for a long time, holding the necklace tightly. She felt afraid, but also hopeful. She took a deep breath and started walking toward the house, each step feeling heavier than the last. She knocked softly at the door. There was no answer. She knocked again, and finally a dog barked inside. A moment later, an older woman opened the door. Lyria asked softly, "Is Ethan here?" The woman shook her head. "He's out right now." "Can I take a message?" Lyria nodded. She wrote a short note, just a few words. "I am looking for you. I hope to see you soon." Lyria, she gave the note to the woman, thanked her, and walked back. To Mia, she felt both relieved and disappointed. "Maybe next time," Mia said gently. Lyria nodded, trying to smile. They walked back to town together in the cool evening. As they passed the park, Lyria saw the stars begin to appear above the trees. She wondered if Ethan was somewhere looking up at the same sky, thinking of her dot as they said goodnight. Mia offered one last bit of hope. "Don't worry," Mia said. "I'm sure you'll find him soon." Lyria looked up at the stars and whispered, "I hope so." She promised herself that she would not give up, no matter how hard it was. She had come too far to turn back now. Ethan started his morning the same way he always did, but something felt different. He had slept badly, waking from strange dreams about the past. In the dreams, he saw blue forests and shining towers, and he heard a voice calling his name. The voice was soft and full of sadness. Ethan sat up in bed and rubbed his eyes. Outside, the sun was rising and the world looked calm, but Ethan could not shake the feeling that something was about to change. He walked to the kitchen and made a simple breakfast. As he ate, he glanced at the table and saw the note his mother had left for him. It was short and neat. "A girl came by last night," it read. "Her name was Lyria. She wanted to see you." Ethan froze. He read the note again, then again, as if he could not believe it. Lyria, he whispered her name out loud, and his hands began to shake. He had not heard her name in a long time. He thought he would never hear it again. His heart started to beat faster, and he felt both happy and afraid. He wondered if he was still dreaming. He stood up quickly, leaving his breakfast on the table. He walked to the window and looked out at the fields and trees around his house. For a moment, he did not know what to do. He wanted to see Lyria, but he also felt scared. He remembered why he had left her behind. He thought it was the only way to protect her. Now she was here on Earth looking for him. Ethan got dressed and left the house. He walked into town, hoping to clear his head. As he walked, he noticed that people seemed to be talking about something strange. He heard two men at the cafe saying, "Did you hear about the new girl in town? She's looking for someone." He passed the hardware store, and the owner waved to him. "You just missed her," the man said. "The girl was asking about you." Ethan tried to act normal, but his mind was racing. He walked to the market, hoping to see Lyria, but she was not there. He wandered through the town, looking for any sign of her. He felt like he was walking through a dream, not sure if he was awake or asleep. Mia was at the park, sitting under a tree. She saw Ethan and waved him over. "Hi, Ethan," she said. "You must be the person Lyria is looking for." Ethan sat down next to her. "Where is she now?" Mia shrugged. "She's staying at the motel. She tried to find you yesterday. She even came to your house, but you were gone. She left a note." Ethan felt a strange mix of relief and worry. "Is she okay?" Mia smiled. "She's a little lost, I think. She's not from around here, but she's nice. I tried to help her." Ethan thanked Mia and stood up. "I think I need to talk to her." Mia nodded. "You should? She's been looking for you since she got here." Ethan walked to the motel, his heart pounding. He stood outside her door for a long time, trying to find the courage to knock. Finally, he lifted his hand and knocked softly. The door opened, and Lyria stood there. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Ethan saw that she looked different. Her hair was dark, and her skin looked more human, but her eyes were the same silver color he remembered. She held the necklace he had given her, and her hands shook a little. "Hello, Ethan," Lyria said. Her voice was quiet, but strong. Ethan could not find the words to speak. He wanted to say he was sorry, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he stepped inside, and they sat together on the edge of the bed. The room was small and quiet. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, Lyria looked at him and asked, "Why did you leave me?" Ethan looked down at his hands. I thought it was the only way to keep you safe. Lyria shook her head. You did not ask me what I wanted. Ethan felt tears sting his eyes. He wanted to tell her everything, but he was afraid. There were people after us, he said. I was told that if I stayed, it would put you and your family in danger. I thought I was protecting you. Lyria's eyes filled with tears. You left without a word. You promised we would face things together. Ethan reached out, but she pulled away. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know what else to do. I was scared. They sat in silence, both lost in their memories. Outside, the world moved on as if nothing had changed, but inside, everything felt different after a while. Lyria spoke again. I crossed the stars to find you. I had to know the truth. Ethan nodded slowly. I never stopped thinking about you. Every day I wanted to go back, but I was afraid. Lyria wiped her eyes. I am here now. I am not afraid. They sat together talking quietly about the past. They remembered the days on her planet, the things they had seen, and the secrets they had shared. They talked about the mission, about how they helped each other, and about the promise Ethan had made to keep her safe. Slowly, the anger and sadness began to fade, replaced by something gentler, a hope that they could understand each other again. As they talked, Mia came to the door. She knocked softly and Lyria let her in. Mia looked at the two of them and smiled. I hope you found each other, she said. Lyria nodded. Thank you, Mia. You helped me more than you know. Mia grinned. It was nothing. I just like to help people. Ethan stood up. We should go somewhere quiet. There are things we need to talk about, Lyria agreed. Yes. They left the motel and walked to the park, where the trees gave them shade and privacy. They sat on a bench, talking for a long time. Ethan told Lyria about the worries he had after leaving her planet, about the strange things that happened on Earth, and about the fear that someone might find out the truth. Lyria listened and tried to understand. You do not have to be afraid anymore, she said. I am here now. We can face things together. Ethan smiled, but there was still a sadness in his eyes. I hope so. As they sat together, they heard a sound behind them. Two men in dark suits stood near the trees, watching them. Ethan felt a chill run through him. He whispered to Lyria, I think we have been followed. Lyria's eyes narrowed. Who are they? Government agents, Ethan said quietly. They must have heard about the strange things happening here. Mia looked at the men. What should we do? Ethan stood up. We need to leave. They moved quickly through the park, staying out of sight. Ethan led them down a side street and through a quiet alley. He knew the town well and hoped he could lose the agents. Lyria followed, trusting him. Mia came too, ready to help as they hurried away. Ethan realized that his life would never be simple again. The past had found him, and now he would have to face whatever came next. He glanced at Lyria, remembering how brave she had been to come all this way. He promised himself that he would not run away again. The sun set behind the hills, painting the sky with soft colors. Ethan, Lyria, and Mia moved through the shadows, trying to stay safe. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt a spark of hope. Ethan led Lyria and Mia through quiet streets, trying to put as much distance as possible between them and the agents. The sky was dark and only a few streetlights glowed. Shadows were long and every noise sounded strange and loud. Lyria held her small bag tight, her translator making soft beeps as she tried to follow Ethan closely. Mia walked beside them, her eyes alert. They reached an old observatory on a hill outside town. It was abandoned, but Ethan knew it well from his childhood adventures. He whispered to Lyria, This place is safe. We can hide here for a while. Lyria nodded, trusting him. Together, they climbed a broken staircase to the top floor, where large windows offered a view of the town below. Ethan closed the heavy metal door and locked it. He used a piece of scrap wood to block it further. Inside, dust lay thick on the floor and old tools were scattered around. But there was a small metal desk and a broken telescope, which they left unused. Ethan turned to Lyria. We should rest and talk. We need a plan. Lyria sank onto a dusty chair, her face pale but hopeful. Mia found some old chairs and joined them. Ethan sat opposite Lyria, his expression serious. He took a deep breath and spoke softly so the walls would not hear. "First," he said, "we need to stay hidden until I can figure out how to stop those agents from following us. Then we have to decide what to do next." Lyria looked at him, her silver eyes shining in the dim light. What did they want? Ethan shook his head. "I don't know. They are government agents. They likely heard about strange signals and odd events. They will think you are dangerous." Lyria frowned. "But I am not dangerous. I only want to find you." Ethan's face softened. "I know. They will not understand that. We have to convince them you are not a threat or get far away." Mia spoke up. "Maybe we can find a way to send you home?" Lyria's eyes lit up for a moment. "Home, yes. But I cannot go back until I know the truth. They will not help me otherwise." Ethan nodded. "You are right. But if we just run, it will be hard to stay together. We need help." Mia thought for a moment. "There is someone I know, my friend Carla. She's a computer expert. Maybe she can help with signals and trackers." Ethan smiled slightly. "That could work. If Carla can block the agent signals, we can move freely." Lyria stood and walked to the window. She looked out at the town lights. "I should have known that my journey would bring danger to the people of this planet. I am sorry." Ethan moved to stand beside her. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did the right thing coming here. I just wish I had been honest with you." Lyria turned to him. "You were scared, I understand." Ethan swallowed. "Can you ever forgive me?" Lyria studied his face for a moment. Then she nodded. "I forgave you the moment I saw you." They stood together silently, watching the small town below. Time passed quietly. Then Mia clapped her hands softly. "Come on, let's get some sleep. We need our strength for tomorrow." Ethan and Lyria agreed. They found old blankets and pillows in a corner. The air was chilly, but they managed to make a small bed for Lyria and another for Ethan. Mia found a small heater, dusty but still working, and turned it on. Before they slept, Ethan spoke quietly to Lyria. "Thank you for trusting me. I promise I will not let you down again." Lyria smiled and touched his hand. "And I promise I will stay by your side." The next morning, sunlight slanted through the dusty windows. The heater had warmed the room just enough. Ethan was the first to wake. He rubbed his eyes and looked at Lyria and Mia, both still asleep. He smiled softly to see. Then, peaceful after the night's worries, Ethan stepped away and walked down to the old staircase. He looked at the agents' cars parked at a distance near the town. 2 black vehicles sat outside the observatory gates. Ethan knew they had found their hideout. He hurried back upstairs. "They are here," he whispered to Mia. "We need a plan." Lyria sat up, her face determined. "Then we need to leave now." Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. Carla could help us. We can get past them. But we have to go to her place, and that means passing through town." Mia nodded. "Carla lives in the city 10 miles from here. We can take the back roads." Lyria looked nervous. "I have not been to many places. It will be hard." Ethan took her hand. "I will stay with you. We will do it together." They gathered their things. Ethan took the necklace from around Lyria's neck and gently touched its glass star. "This will protect you," he said softly, then put it back. They climbed down the stairs, careful not to make noise. At the bottom, Ethan tested the door. It would hold for a few minutes. "We go now," he whispered. They slipped out the back window and moved into the trees. The agents would not expect them to use the back. They walked quickly through the woods, guided by Ethan. The morning air was cool, and their breath showed in little clouds. The trees grew thick, hiding them from view. After a while, they reached a dirt road. Ethan paused. "This way leads to the highway." "But it is watched. We need to turn left here, toward Carla's house." Mia nodded. "This road is rough, but there is less traffic." They walked along the dirt road, following a narrow path carved by farmers' trucks. After an hour, they saw a small house in a clearing. Vines covered the walls, and solar panels glinted on the roof. This was Carla's home. Mia knocked on the door. A young woman with short black hair and glasses opened it. She smiled when she saw Mia. "Hey, Mia, who's this?" Mia introduced Lyria and Ethan. "Carla, they need your help. Government agents are after us, and we need to hide signals. Can you help?" Carla's face grew serious. "Come in, quickly." Inside, Carla led them to a large workbench covered in wires and screens. She tapped on a keyboard and pulled up a map of the area. She saw the agent cars near the observatory. "They're watching that place closely. You aren't safe there." Ethan nodded. "We need to block their trackers and signals so we can travel." Carla thought for a moment. "I can set up a signal jammer for a short time. It will blind their trackers. But it will only work for about an hour." Lyria's eyes brightened. "Then we can leave during that hour," Carla smiled. "Yes, and I can give you a small device that will hide your translator signals so they cannot trace you." Lyria's face lit up with hope. Ethan thanked Carla. This could save us. Carla set to work, connecting wires and testing her equipment. Mia brought them coffee while they waited. Ethan watched Lyria, seeing the excitement in her face. He reached out and held her hand. Carla finished quickly. "Okay, go now. I've set the jammer on the observatory area. You have 50 minutes before it shuts off. Good luck." They hurried outside. Carla gave them the small device. Ethan pressed it to Lyria's translator. A green light blinked. "This will hide your signals," Carla said. Lyria smiled. "Thank you." Ethan led them back down the dirt road. As they walked, he felt a mix of fear and relief. Fear of what might happen if they were caught, and relief that they had a chance to stay together. After a long walk, they reached the main highway. Ethan looked at the sky and saw the jammer working. No satellite signals lit up on the small screen he carried. "We're safe for now," he said softly. Lyria squeezed his hand. "Let's keep going." As they moved forward, Ethan thought of the journey ahead. It would be hard, but he knew they would face it together, and that made all the difference. Ethan, Lyria, and Mia traveled by car after leaving Carla's house. Ethan drove slowly on the back roads, watching the rearview mirror for any sign of agents. Lyria sat beside him, holding the small signal-hiding device. Mia rode in the back, keeping an eye on the map. The sun was high, and the roads stretched out before them, lined with fields and trees. Lyria saw Earth passing by through the window-rolling hills, bright flowers and farms with animals. She pointed at a field where cows grazed. "Is that normal?" she asked, sounding curious. Ethan smiled. "Yes, many people have farms like that here. It's peaceful," Lyria nodded. She felt a mix of wonder and sadness. She wished the journey had been smoother, but she knew they needed to reach a safe place. Carla had arranged for a small cabin owned by a friend of hers, far from the town and off the main roads. After a few hours, they reached a dirt driveway leading to a wooden cabin in a clearing. The cabin looked simple but sturdy. Smoke rose from the chimney and a vegetable garden grew nearby. They parked and walked to the front door. A middle-aged man with kind eyes greeted them. "Are you Ethan and friends?" he asked. Mia nodded. "Yes. Carla sent us. This is Patrick." Patrick smiled and shook their hands. "Welcome. Come inside." Inside the cabin was warm and cozy. A fire crackled in the fireplace. A table with chairs sat in the middle, and a small kitchen stood to one side. Patrick led them to the back room, where 2 simple beds were ready. Lyria looked around, feeling grateful. "Thank you." "This is very kind," Patrick nodded. "You're safe here. No one will find you." Ethan placed a signal device on the bedside table. "We need time to plan our next move. We can't stay hidden forever." Patrick understood. "I will be here as long as you need. Food, water, you can have it." Lyria sat on one of the beds. She took off her boots and touched her feet. "It has been a long journey. I feel tired." Ethan sat beside her. "Get some rest. We can talk later." Mia nodded and left the room. Ethan and Lyria lay down. Lyra closed her eyes, but sleep did not come. She thought about the journey, about how Ethan had kept her safe, and about what would come next. She touched the glass star on her necklace and whispered to herself, "We will find the truth." Ethan watched her for a moment. He felt a strong connection to Lyria. He remembered their time on her world and how brave she had been. He whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." Lyria opened her eyes and smiled softly, "And thank you for coming back for me." They lay in silence, each thinking of what the future might hold. Finally, Lyria fell asleep, and Ethan closed his eyes too. After a few hours, Ethan woke to soft rain tapping on the roof. He sat up and looked at Lyria, still sleeping. He wondered how long they could stay here and what they would do when the agents found them. The next morning, they met Patrick for breakfast. He served eggs, bread, and fresh fruit. The rain had stopped, but the sky was gray. Patrick spoke while they ate. "I know a man who might help you. He works for a small relief group. He has contacts in different countries. He could help you leave Earth if you want." Lyria looked at Ethan. He nodded. "Yes, that might be our best option. We need a safe way to leave. But I still want to talk to the agents, to clear the air." Mia frowned. "That could be dangerous." Lyria's eyes were firm. "I must try. I cannot be a fugitive. I need them to see who I am." Patrick nodded. "Then I will contact my friend. He can arrange a meeting for you." After breakfast, they packed a small bag and prepared to leave. Ethan kissed Lyria's forehead and whispered, "Be careful." Lyria smiled. "I will." They followed Patrick in his truck along a winding road. After an hour, they reached a larger town where Patrick's friend, Mark, was waiting. Mark was tall, with gray hair and a calm face. He greeted them and led them to a quiet building. Inside, a small office awaited. Mark introduced them to two government officials, Agent Cole and Agent Stevens. The agents looked serious. Cole spoke first. "We tracked unusual signals. We know someone landed in our territory. We want to understand why." Lyria stood confidently. She held her head high. Ethan stood beside her. "I am Lyria," she began. "I came from another world to find Ethan." He left without explaining. "I want to ask him why. I mean no harm." Agent Stevens raised an eyebrow. "An alien from another planet? Do you expect us to believe that?" Ethan stepped forward. "It is true. I served on a mission. I can show you records and data." Cole studied Lyria. He looked at the small device hiding her signals. He thought for a moment, then nodded. "We will listen, but no tricks. If you try anything, we will take action." Lyria nodded. "We have nothing to hide." A meeting room was prepared with a table and chairs. Ethan laid out a tablet with data from his mission. He showed the agents star maps, ship logs, and photos of Lyria's planet. The agents studied the information in silence. Lyria watched them, her heart pounding. After a long time, Agent Cole spoke. "This is extraordinary. If true, you are the first known alien visitor to Earth. We must handle this carefully." Lyria took a deep breath. "I understand. I only ask you to let me ask Ethan why he left." Agent Stevens sighed. "Very well. We will allow it, but you must stay in our custody until we finish our investigation." Ethan looked at Lyria, fear and relief mixed in his eyes. "I will stay with her," the agents nodded. Mark stepped forward. "I will take them to a safe facility." Lyria turned to Ethan. "Thank you for standing by me." Ethan squeezed her hand. "Always." They left the room with Mark and the agents. As they walked through the hallways, Lyria felt nervous, but she held her head high. She was ready to face whatever came next, with Ethan by her side. At the end of the corridor, a door opened to a small room with two chairs. The agents gestured for them to sit. They did. Agent Cole sat on the other side of the table. He looked at Lyria and then at Ethan. "You will get your meeting. Any lies or deception, and we will stop this immediately." Lyria nodded. "I promise." Ethan moved closer. "I'm here. I will answer your questions." Lyria looked at Ethan with hope and fear. She whispered, "I want to know why." Ethan took a deep breath and began to speak. Patrick drove them back to his cabin after the meeting. Ethan sat in the front, his mind racing. Lyria sat in the back, holding her chair tightly. Mia sat beside her, offering quiet support. The rain had returned, pattering on the windows. The drive was slow and tense. After they arrived, Patrick checked on them. "Are you all right?" he asked. Lyria looked tired but determined. I am fine, I have what I need. She held up a small case with her documents. Inside were copies of the mission data, her royal seal, and a letter from her queen. Patrick nodded. We will keep it safe. Ethan turned to Patrick. Thank you for everything. We could not have done this without you. Patrick smiled. I only did what I could. Mia stood and stretched. We should decide our next step. They sat at the table. Ethan opened his bag and took out a map. He spread it out. We have two options. 1, we stay here and wait until the agents finish their investigation. Then maybe they will accept her story. 2, we leave Earth and return to her world or find a safe place elsewhere. Lyria studied the map. She felt torn. She loved Earth now, the blue forest, the simple people, and especially Ethan. But she needed to know if she could live here. Mia spoke first. Maybe the agents will accept your story, Lyria, but if they don't, you could be forced to leave. Lyria sighed. I do not want to leave, Ethan. Ethan took her hand. Wherever you go, I will follow. Patrick nodded. I know someone who can help you leave Earth safely if you choose that. Lyria closed her eyes. She thought of her mother, waiting on her planet, and of her duties as princess. She thought of Ethan's quiet sunsets and the laughter in the park. She thought of the danger she faced being here. She opened her eyes and looked at Ethan. I choose to stay. Her voice was soft but clear. Ian turned to the others. We will face whatever comes together. Mia smiled and hugged Lyria. We are with you. Patrick patted Ethan's shoulder. I will do what I can to help. In the days that followed, the agents continued their investigation. Agents Cole and Stevens visited the cabin once to interview Lyria and Ethan together. They asked questions about her world, her mission, and her life. Lyria answered calmly, showing them her translator and her data. Ethan supported her, adding details about their friendship and the mission. Soon, the agents brought their report to a small government committee. The committee met in a secure building, chaired by a senior official. Ethan and Lyria watched from a safe room. They listened as the officials reviewed the data. This is an extraordinary case, the senior official said. We have no reason to doubt her story. She is not a threat. We recommend she stay under observation until a formal agreement can be made with her government. Lyria felt relief wash over her. She squeezed Ethan's hand. He looked at her, his eyes shining. After the meeting, Agent Cole met them at the door. You may continue your lives here with limited oversight. We will assign a liaison officer to you. Lyria bowed her head slightly. Thank you, Ethan smiled. Thank you, Mia cheered softly. We did it. With the danger passing, life slowly returned to normal. Ethan took Lyria to his favorite places, the hardware store where he worked, the observatory where they hid, and the park where they first reunited. They introduced her to his neighbors, who welcomed her with curiosity and kindness. Lyria learned about Earth's culture. She tried new foods, danced to human music, and laughed at jokes she did not fully understand. She taught Ethan about her world, in return showing him holograms of her blue forests and silver towers. They sat in the observatory at night looking at the stars together, but now Earth's sky felt like home. Months later, a messenger ship arrived to take a formal representative from Earth to Lyria's world. The liaison officer explained that the meeting was to discuss a diplomatic agreement. Ethan and Lyria were invited to attend. On the day of departure, Ethan and Lyria stood at the edge of the landing pad. The new ship was sleek and white, with blue lights along its sides. A small crowd gathered to say goodbye. Mia, Patrick, and Carla were there. They hugged Lyria, and Ethan. Mia held Lyria's hand. Come back soon, okay? Earth won't be the same. Without you, Lyria smiled. I will come back, I promise. Everyone watched as Ethan and Lyria boarded the ship. Ethan held the glass star necklace in his hand and slipped it around Lyria's neck. They kissed cheeks, then stepped inside. As the hatch closed, Ethan turned to Lyria. No matter where we go, we will face it together. Lyria nodded, her silver eyes bright. Together. The engines hummed, and the ship lifted off. It soared into the sky, leaving behind the blue planet that had become their home. They looked out the window at the world below green forests, blue seas, and the small town where their story had begun. Lyra closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Ethan, for never giving up on me." Ethan wrapped his arm around her. "I will always find you, no matter the stars between us." The ship broke through the atmosphere and into space. Together they crossed the stars, ready to face whatever the future held, side by side.